Hello everybody, David Shuster here. A 22-year-old progressive YouTuber just trashed Donald Trump and his conservative sycophants on CNN, and it was epic. The discussion centered on who is responsible for political violence. Here's Adam Mockler, who works for the Midas Touch network.
I'm pretty tired of conservatives gaslighting about the current political environment and Donald Trump's rhetoric when all of this escalation can be traced back to his entrance into American politics. His claim to fame was saying that Obama wasn't born in America. He was the first presidential candidate to have his crowd chant, "Lock her up," about a political opponent. You can bring up the insurrection. Even in the past few weeks, my home city of Chicago, he posted a photo of Chicago being invaded by the Department of War. So the broader point here is Donald Trump endlessly deflects and tries to blame it on the other side when he is the one responsible for amping up the tension in America.
Trump's amping up the tensions and deflections have been on display repeatedly. In the wake of a string of mass shootings in the United States and the assassination of conservative Charlie Kirk, Trump delivered this whopper from the White House Oval Office.
The radical left is causing the problem. They're out of control. They're saying things, and they're really dumb people. I mean, I look at Crockett. I look at some of these people. They're very low IQ people, actually. But the radical left is causing this problem, not the right, the radical left. And it's going to get worse, and ultimately it's going to go back on them. I mean, bad things happen when they play these games.
As Adam Mockler noted Trump's remarks and continued to calmly and articulately point out Trump's own responsibilities and role in stoking tensions, CNN conservative analyst Scott Jennings joined the discussion. But Jennings, instead of logic and rational arguments, delivered condescension and absurd circular reasoning. Watch, starting with Mockler, and then Jennings.
All of my formative years, throughout high school, throughout college, looking to the president, who I'm supposed to be able to look up to, and seeing somebody who's trying to place blame on the left, who's amping up the rhetoric constantly, and yeah, it's not good.
So you think it's Donald Trump's fault that a deranged leftist climbed up to the top of a building and shot up the ICE facility, not once now, but twice in Texas?
I think it's Donald Trump's fault that America has gotten to this heated place. I think that
no responsibility for the radicalization on the left that's causing this violent outburst.
That 29-year-old is radicalized by online communities and online algorithms. I'm not going to blame that directly on Trump, but he was caught in a lot of online video game algorithms and all these communities. Donald Trump,
but it's Trump's
10
fault.
years ago, Donald Trump amped up the tension in America.
So he ran 10 years ago, and this guy then 10 years later, somehow you're connecting. Can't you just take responsibility for it?
Oh,
he's on the left.
But let's not do the he has to take responsibility because he's a Democrat.
I'm a 22-year-old YouTuber. You want me to take more responsibility than the president of the United States?
I want you to understand.
I'm a 22-year-old YouTuber.
I want you to understand that we are in the middle of an epidemic of left-wing violence. They're attacking ICE. They shot Charlie. It's happening all over the country. We have these Free Palestine people running around trying to burn down the Pennsylvania governor's mansion. On and on
then
and
maybe
on.
the president
It's not Trump's fault.
The president of the
United
United
left
States
is radicalized to the point of saying, we're done talking and we're going to start shooting.
Scott, the data indicates is Trump amping down the tensions?
Amping down the tensions?
Yeah, is he taking the tensions down? Is he trying to do that?
I think he's mad that his friend got murdered, if you want that.
The job of the president is to tone down the rhetoric.
The job of the president is to tone down the tension, said Adam Mockler. And Mockler is correct. Donald Trump can be mad that Charlie Kirk was murdered, as Jennings said, but Trump's responsibilities as president include protecting and safeguarding all Americans by showing leadership, lowering the political temperature, and uniting all of us instead of constantly dividing us. But Donald Trump seems incapable of doing anything other than promoting himself, ripping the country apart, and stoking more violence. And in doing this, Donald Trump does what he has always done. He lies. Multiple studies, including one by the U.S. Department of Justice, have found that far-right violence outpaces all other types of violent extremism. The Trump administration responded to that study by deleting it, by removing it from the Department of Justice website. A Koch-founded conservative think tank also found that far-right violence has happened 6 times as frequently over the past few decades as far-left violence. But Donald Trump and his sycophants say the Cato study can't be believed. Why? Just because. And that's where Scott Jennings comes in. Once upon a time, Jennings advised Kentucky Republican Senator Mitch McConnell and served in the George W. Bush White House. Jennings was a respectable functionary known for mild caution and restraint, But those days are over. Jennings is now a zealous and obnoxious mouthpiece for Donald Trump, willing to sacrifice dignity and logic for attention and Trump White House access. Jennings appears daily on CNN, not as an analyst, but as a MAGA maniac. He literally strains every syllable to excuse, explain, and soften Donald Trump's worst impulses. In these segments, Jennings strikes the pose of a man burdened by illogical colleagues, when in truth, it is Jennings who is the provocateur and the performative antagonist.
Adam's right, it comes from the top down. And I think at the same time...
So now we have two people here who are saying it's Donald Trump's fault
Scott,
that someone shot up an ICE facility.
Nobody is saying that.
You literally said that.
Listen, let me finish.
And then you agreed with it.
You want to know what I said? I said Donald Trump created this environment over the past decade. You sat here and said, I need to take responsibility. I'm a 22-year-old YouTuber. You hold me to a higher standard than the man that
I'm
we
holding
just
you to
listened
your standard of your punditry.
Donald
Your
Trump was
punditry
just
is that Trump's
vomiting
at fault.
vitriol out of his mouth about how the other party is weak and evil. And he just said the party of hate, evil, and Satan. You blind yourself to that, and you're focusing on a 22-year-old YouTuber.
The fact that Adam Mockler and other CNN guests bristle at Jennings is no surprise. The surprise is that Scott Jennings is still given any legitimacy on CNN. He claims to stand for balance, yet acts like a Trojan horse for MAGA mania. Jennings seems to thirst for confrontation more than insight. He attacks liberal panelists with outrage, masquerading bluster for logic. Yet behind the bravado is Jennings' feeble intellect. Factual contortions, whataboutism, rhetorical deflection. Jennings has no substance, just performance skills. He's not a thinker, and America and CNN are weaker for it. Thankfully, there is an entire generation of Adam Mocklers rising through the ranks of our media to confront Jennings and the other conservative nut jobs. They are thoughtful, logical, fact-based, and compelling. In other words, these progressives are everything that Scott Jennings and other conservatives are not. And it's why Jennings, in these clashes, keeps getting smoked and revealed as a tired, old Trump MAGA cultist. By the way, Donald Trump's newly appointed U.S. attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia just got slammed by a federal judge over her indictment of James Comey.
Lindsey Halligan, the newly installed U.S. attorney who was an associate secretary at the White House and is Donald Trump's former defense attorney and has never prosecuted a case. She brought this case to the grand jury by herself, we are told. She presented for a couple of hours without any help from other prosecutors in the office. At least they weren't presenting the evidence to that grand jury.
The fact that she couldn't find a single assistant U.S. attorney in an office of well over 100 of them is very telling to me. It's also telling that she is the lone person to have signed that indictment. She could not find any career professional to do that.
And when she signed it and filed the indictment with the federal court, Halligan submitted documents that contradicted each other. One document said the grand jury returned indictments on 2 counts and refused on a third. The other document said the grand jury refused to indict on all 3 counts. The magistrate judge, I'm a little confused as to why I was handed 2 things with the same case number that are inconsistent, Ms. Halligan. So I only reviewed one with the 2 counts that our office redrafted when we found out about the two counts that were true billed, and I signed that one. I did not see the other one. I don't know where that came from. The court judge, you didn't see it? Halligan, I did not see that one. The court judge, so your office didn't prepare the indictment that they... Halligan, no, prepared 3 counts. I only signed the 1, the 2 count. I don't know which one with 3 counts you have in your hands. The court judge, it has your signature on it. Halligan, okay, well, check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.